It's pretty safe to say, God give it, God take it away. It's the worldwide American way. I'm living proof.
What's going on, team? Proof here. And the video I'm going to be bringing to you today is going to be the product of discussion that took place on one of the Discord servers I'm a part of. I'm not exactly sure how the conversation got to the point of talking about a G-guard for spikes that can interact with the field, but that's how we kind of got there, and kind of talking about how, or the implications it would have if spikes had a G-guard that could work with the field, and kind of talk about what the effect could be, things like that. Never got into costs or anything like that, but I designed a cost for the card. So it's kind of like a fantasy card per se of what I think a fair design for a Spikes G-guard could be that interacted with your opponent's field. And this kind of came about because one of my biggest gripes about the G-guards, such as Hetero Round, Denial Griffin, the Negro Lily combo, is that not every clan has one. So it gives a distinctly competitive advantage to the clans that do have one, because Gears, Night Rose, they're tier 1 by the tournament standards, in that having access to a G-guard that can interrupt your opponent's their own combos is a big boon to have for longevity in the tournament scene. So I'm not saying Spikes necessarily need a G-guard with a ability such as what I'm going to show you, but if they did have one, I think it should be something in this vein. So I'm going to go over the skill, which is really simple, and I'm going to talk about the implications it could have gameplay wise, and how it could mess with your opponent in that sense. So what the skill is G-guard, of course, because that's what we're talking about, and it's auto counterblast 1, soul blast 1. When this unit is placed on the Guardian Circle, you may pay the cost. If you do, choose one of your opponent's rear guards and it becomes charging. And charging says put it on the bottom of its owner's deck at the end of the battle. So I tweaked the wording for charge traditionally to apply to the G-guard, which I think it's fine. And Counterblast 1, Soul Blast 1 is kind of like that middle ground between Hetero Round and Denial Griffin. But this has a disadvantage from those two, because you still have to guard the attack if you want to not take damage from it. Unlike with Denial Griffin and Hetero Round, where they can choose the attacking unit and freely get the benefit of not having that attacker around anymore. Unlike with this one, where you still pay the cost, but you still have to block the attack. Excuse me. So if you're in a situation where you have to guard it or you lose, you can use the G-guard, but you don't get the shield value, the extra shield from it, and then you have to guard on top of that to survive the attack. So I think the cost is fair, and it kind of cuts into the reserve for Spikes, because we need Counterblast and Soul for our particular combos that we use. So I think that's fine. And putting the unit charging means after it attacks or boosts, it goes to the bottom of the deck and it doesn't stick around. So what does this mean? It means that for things like Wiseman, it gets one attack and then it goes back to the bottom of the deck, and they have to then call out a new one through soul blasting abilities. It messes with Shadow Paladin combos such as both Diablo strides, because if they attack with a rear guard first, the rear guard goes to the bottom, so they can't sacrifice it to pay the cost for Phantom Blaster Diablo or Spectral Diablo, which could hurt them in the long run. It messes with Nova Grappler combos, because they can't restand their Sazandas or their Sever Temps or things like that. You can mess with Night Rose or Grand Blue by putting Grenache or Grenache, can't remember how exactly that's pronounced, to the bottom by targeting it with this particular G-Guardian, so they can't get their counter charge benefit from it. It has some really cool applications for it, and I think if Spikes had one, it'd be really cool. I'm biased, of course. But I don't think it would be game breaking or game shattering because of the direction the game has gone to where these defensive options are becoming more prevalent. So if Bushiroad is watching, if that's the case and they like this idea, I say definitely use it. I would love to see something like this in Spikes. So, but I'd like to know what you guys think. Do you think the meta or the world would be ready for a G-Guard and Spikes such as this? Do you think the cost is fair? Do you think the ability's fair? I like to see what you guys think about it. But that's what I have today. I don't have a name or the call. Or it would be cool if it was Big Panzer Gale, because I have a soft spot for Panzer Gale because I played way back in set two or three when he first came out, and so he was really cool to have as a protector. So it'd be cool to see bigger Panzer Gale come back in this form of further protecting the quarterback, aka the Vanguard, from being hit. It makes sense thematically. I say do it, Bushy. But that's all I have today. I hope you enjoyed. Definitely let me know what you think down below. I look forward to seeing what people think about it, or if they have their own ideas for a G-Guard for Spikes that can interact with the opponent's field. So, until next time, peace, be easy.